when eBay shines its light on your shop, you're going to be selling a lot of items, You're going to be balling. You're going to be happy that you ever made the decision to actually sell on eBay, all right? If you are still concerned about traffic, you have quality items, you want to sell them, but you really have not listed your items on eBay, you might be doing yourself a whole lot of disservice. All these are items that I've sold on eBay, and I'm going to go ahead and pack these items, Like I said, eBay did shine its light on my shop in the last few days, and quite a number of stuffs have been selling: computers, laptops, accessories, and the list goes on and on and on. It's beautiful because, yes, this is what we expect. Nobody wants to list items that do not sell. Nobody wants to list items that at the end of the day, you're going to be having a very difficult time selling them, eBay has constantly told us that, look, we are the king of this game. We own the traffic. So if your items have still not been listed on eBay, please, I want to encourage you, go ahead as soon as you possibly can. Make sure your items are listed on eBay. Without much ado, I'm going to be packing these items, and in between, I'm just going to go ahead and give some tips here and there. Hopefully I can, but I actually need to be in a hurry because the driver is any moment from now going to be here. I mean the DHL driver, and it's going to pick this packet. I will be very, very bad or very, very poor if I cannot have him take all this packet, because these people have paid for this stuff. Some of them are already waiting, asking when the item will be delivered. Of course, I'm still within the shipment schedule that eBay has asked me to ship the item, so I'm not worried about that. But even though I would have loved to make a very comprehensive, like a detailed video of me packing this stuff, but I really need to kind of walk very fast. Otherwise, this is quite a lot to pack right here. We've got 3 desktop PCs and 1 laptop. And yes, normally it should be an easy ride. So I'm going to go ahead and pack it up as fast as I possibly can. And hopefully you get a lot of value from this video. First of all, I have to get bubble wraps for this PC because this is a very expensive PC, and I do not want to make any mistake, try to pack it without using very solid bubble wrap. So I'm just going to push this a little bit to this side so that it doesn't disturb what I'm about to do. All right. So like I said, the first thing that's going to come here is a very good quality bubble wrap. All right. Just going to make sure that comes in like that. And once again, it's unfortunate because I've not been able to get myself to sit down on the PC and actually buy a new tape roller. This is very loud, but I only needed to hold the bubble wraps in place. Otherwise, for the cartons, I actually have a different one that I tend to use. All right. See, although the bubble wrap is already strong enough for this kind of PC, I still feel like I want to, put some extra covering on it. I've got this thing that's also very, very good to pack stuff, The idea here is just to make sure I protect this PC as much as I can. You know what I always say on this channel, if you sell this kind of items, PCs, expensive laptops, and so on, there's one thing you definitely want to forget about, and that is trying to be cheap while you are packing your stuff. It's just not going to work, because if you try to be cheap, you're going to end up losing. Sorry for that. My tape roller fell down. If you try to be cheap in this game, you're going to lose a lot of money because it just makes no sense. Me using this extra cover here would not even cost me more than $1, to buy something like this, to buy the extra packaging I need. But if I do not put it, there is every possibility that at the end of the day, this PC, during transportation, anything like, can always happen. Still going to push this a little bit because I need more space here. During transportation, anything can happen, and I do not want to be seen as being penny wise, pound foolish. So I try as much as possible, make sure the items are well protected. In this way, I can actually, go home and sleep in peace, knowing that the items will be delivered safely. And one thing I normally do, over the years, I've kind of developed a very good relationship with the driver, with the delivery driver. And sometimes, whenever the item is like this, like a computer, I just go ahead to tell him straight up that, look, I want you to take this thing, as carefully as you possibly can. The driver, given that he knows that I sell computers, he also knows that these are expensive stuffs. He has been very, very helpful along. I've never had a very terrible situation in the last few months, I cannot safely say in the last 1 year, never really had any bad situation as to make me begin to have a rethink about how I ship my stuff. So because of that, I pretty much still use the same method of shipping my items, which is bubble wraps, solid cartons, packing papers. Pretty much everything goes the way I expect it to. Even though that is already in place, I always tend to put something still on the top, like a solid carton like that, because it all goes a long way to also make sure that everything right here in the box is well protected. I'm just trying to take a look if it's okay. It looks good. Perhaps I can open it up like that. Okay. So right now I have to grab the invoice and make sure that everything is correct, just as it should. Right. It's a Fujitsu Esprimo P720 PC, and yes, I think I've got everything that I need to be inside. So at this point, I'm just going to go ahead and close this particular packet, and I know that I'm done with this. We still have a lot of time, so we can still go ahead and take it a little bit chill. Because like you can see, I've always prioritized shipping my stuff with very good quality items. In the beginning, when I started shipping items, talking about long time ago, 2013 or thereabouts, I was always kind of cheap. And because of that, I lost a lot of money before I realized that, look, your customer service on eBay, the quality of items you use in shipping your stuff to your buyers is also an extension of your customer service. Sometimes I receive some stuff that make me want to wonder, why have you just done this? People pack the items so shabbily. You can pretty much see that there is no effort to make sure that the item appears at the buyer's place in a responsible manner. Anybody that receives this kind of packets, first of all, the person will know that, look, a responsible person has sent this. Even though there's going to be a problem with the content, the person is not going to be angry just the moment he or she receives the package, So I always try to make sure that that's a nice laptop, very good condition, absolutely no sign of use, pretty much new. And I'm just going to switch it off so that I can actually go ahead and pack this up. There's going to be some updates being installed. Shouldn't take a lot of time to actually finish up. So in the meantime, I'm just going to make sure I have the carton I need. And this laptop also needs to be cleaned properly. Never really cleaned it before, so I'm going to also make sure I clean it very, very well. All right? Okay, apparently it's finished installing, and right now the laptop is ready to be cleaned. I'm just going to grab my cleaner and make sure I give this laptop a very befitting clean. If somebody receives a laptop from you, the very last thing the person expects is to have a laptop with a lot of stains on the screen. So even if you are so in a hurry, you don't have time to actually clean the laptop you are shipping up to your customers, make sure that the screen is actually clean, because this is the very first place the buyer is going to, maybe not the first place, perhaps the second place. I'm going to show you the very first place in a short while. Let me just make sure that this is properly cleaned. So, but the very first place that the buyer is going to take a look at is the top of this laptop. So whatever you do, if you do not have time to clean the laptop, but no matter what, you have to make sure that the top of this laptop looks very presentable, because as soon as the buyer removes the packaging material, the bubble wraps, they are going to take a look at this top. And if they are already very disappointed, if they do not like what they see, man, it's just going to be the beginning of your problems, you know. We do not want this laptop to be returned for any reason, so I gave my best to make sure that the laptop is in the best condition. Of course, they are not new here and there. There might be some very little signs of use, which also was well stated in the description of the offer on eBay. But sometimes, like I do know, a lot of buyers, they do not read this item description the way they ought to read it. You know, sometimes they are more carried away with how much, you know, the price of the item, in this case, the laptop. All right. So this already looks very good. This is how it should look. So when somebody receives this, person would know that, yes, somebody with some good eye for quality have actually prepared this. I tend to put this printing paper just here so that the keyboard does not have a way of putting some marks on the screen. And when I have that like that, I can go ahead and begin to bubble wrap this beautiful HP EliteBook laptop. All right. Sold for decent price. Decent transaction, decent buyer. Didn't stress me before clicking on the buy it now button. There are some buyers, before they buy your stuff, man, they are going to ask you a lot of questions. I do not have problems with buyers asking questions. As a matter of fact, I do encourage you to ask a lot of questions before committing to buy an item on eBay, because this might just be one way for you to avoid a lot of misunderstandings. Ask about the condition of the item. Ask about the keyboard. If it's a keyboard that has a backlight, you know, this is one thing that people do not ask. And then when they receive the item, they begin to complain, oh, the keyboard doesn't have a backlight. I really wanted a laptop I can actually use to work in the night, all right? But this buyer in this case was a very responsible, smart buyer. Didn't ask anything, possibly read the description, and then went ahead to click on the buy it now button. So it was a very, very beautiful transaction. Everything went like it should possibly go, and I really do hope that when this laptop gets delivered, the buyer is going to be like super, super, you know, excited to receive and to use it, because truly said, this is a very decent laptop. You know, even though it's used, it still looks like something in a very, very new condition. And I actually did go ahead to make sure that the battery of the laptop is new. This is something I just did for this particular transaction. It's not what I do all the time, but just because the laptop was just looking too new, it would have been very, very bad for the battery. You see, just to check, appears it's shaking, but no, I wouldn't want it to shake for any reason. So I'm going to put more packaging paper just to make sure that whatever is inside this box is not shaking whatsoever. You know, because when it's shaking, it can actually go ahead to destroy the contents, and I don't want that to happen. Okay, should be much better this way. All right, yes, everything looks rigid. See, I was saying that this laptop was just in a very good condition, and when I tested it, it was out of battery. So before I listed it on eBay, I did go ahead to make sure I changed the battery so that whoever will be receiving this laptop is actually receiving a used laptop with new batteries. You know, sometimes when I get stuff like this, if the profit margin is kind of very encouraging, I still have the margin to actually change the battery to make sure that I do not receive complaints for whoever is going to buy it, because sometimes buyers are also very funny. They want to buy a used laptop but expect the battery to be new, you know. Not all the time, but I have actually seen buyers that really do expect this, because when you say that the items are refurbished, they expect that you have actually gone ahead to change the battery, you know. And if, as you can already tell, I forgot to include the invoice. And because I do know that if the buyer receives this package and it doesn't have an invoice, it's going to possibly write me, you know, it's going to definitely write me to ask where is the invoice, you know. And sometimes this happens whenever I try to, you know, multitask. What I'm going to do, I'm definitely going to open this up, you know. This is not good customer service. I want this buyer to receive this packet, and as soon as the buyer gets it, he receives his invoice. It takes less effort for me right now to just correct this, now that I still have the option, the possibility to do it, all right? This is kind of bad enough, but sometimes it is what it is. And when it happens like this, I do not have to beat up myself so much. Luckily, I discovered it early enough. So just going to take that out and go ahead and slide this right at the top like that. Should be fine. All right. So then I can go ahead and close my package again. So these are some of the small things that kind of takes the time sometimes. That is why each time I want to ship something, I always like to make sure that everything is already placed on the table, which is the invoice, the shipping labels, and all those stuff, so that errors like this do not happen. But this wasn't a fatal error. A fatal error would have been that a particular configuration that the buyer has bought is wrong and the PC is already packed. That will mean that I need to open this thing, plug the PC again, and make sure that the configuration is right. Okay, so this is good. This is the next beautiful PC that sold on eBay and sold for a very decent price. Like always, the buyer also asked just a few questions. Wanted to ask if he could actually, you know, put a graphic card on this PC, which I did reply yes. And the next thing I heard was that the PC sold without making any story. But honestly, this PC looks in a very, very good condition. I do not expect anybody to kind of complain. This was tested by me. Made sure that the PC was like truly functional, you know, before bringing it up right now to pack it. If the driver is to take it today, hopefully by tomorrow or at the latest next tomorrow, this package should be at the buyer's address, you know. So I do not expect anything to happen. If the transportation goes like planned, which is the item doesn't get broken while being transported, I expect that this piece is going to be plugged and it's going to work exactly the way a Fujitsu Esprimo was supposed to work, which is very quiet, you know, and hopefully this should impress whoever bought this PC and possibly come back again to my shop and try to buy something else. I've got very decent displays that will work very well with this PC. And once again, I also have this very nice, also like a bubble wrap, or just that it doesn't have the rough edges and it doesn't have these bubbles inside. So, but it's very thick and can sometimes makes for very good packaging as well. If you can lay your hands on stuff like this, you always have to have things like this handy because you never can tell when you will need them. All right, so this is almost done, and I still have about 20 minutes, which is just a lot of time actually. I never thought I was going to be so fast doing this, but hey, I've done this for years, and from the get-go, I already know how it should be packed. It should look when it's properly packed. All right, this looks very decent. I'm gonna go ahead and include the invoice, but before then, I always like to put this carton at the top so that in some way the top of the PC is kind of just protected. All right, so I've got it here, and I'm gonna put it's too big, so I gotta go ahead. All right, so that's how it should look when everything is done. Beautiful PC, beautiful packaging. Okay, so I've got that. Everything appears to be exactly as it is, so that's gonna go in there. I'm gonna go ahead and close the PC right now. So guys, in case you are wondering if there's a lot of money to be made selling used stock on the internet, definitely the answer is yes. I mean, as you can see right now, these are items that have been sold well over 1,000 euros just in one day, and this is how it has been since the beginning of this year. Actually, in December it was a little bit of a horror, experience, because first of all, my shop was on holiday, and before the holiday, apparently things were not really selling as they should, And then the few things that sold, a lot of them just kept coming back for one reason or the other. It was the worst return I ever got. So as if to say that eBay kind of just wants to encourage me to continue to do this. Since the beginning of this year, to be honest, I've had pretty decent sales, very decent traffic, and the items are just selling, like wildfire. And this is very, very interesting. Like I always say, reselling is always fun when you have put in the work to get items, and then you put in the work to actually list the items, and then the items sell. When they do not sell, it's kind of very disheartening, because honestly, this takes a lot of time, takes a lot of effort to do this. When things are selling, man, it's the best feeling that you can actually have. You can actually go ahead and plan. You can go ahead and actually, put your money on more inventories, knowing that eBay will just give you the traffic that you actually need to sell them. Okay, so this is the last PC that I also sold. Beautiful PC, excellent condition. This should normally impress whoever is going to get this. The only thing I have to do here now is just to clean this, because I'm kind of getting a little bit late. So I did pause for a few minutes to quickly go to the restroom, but now I'm back. Just want to quickly do this, because any moment from now, I really do think the driver is going to be ringing my bell. And the way I always like to do it, as soon as he comes around, I always want to have everything prepared already so that he doesn't have to waste any extra minutes. And he also prefers it to be like that, all right? This apparently has been sorted out. So once again, it's just doing the same thing over and over and again. I'm going to get bubble wraps. Make sure that this beautiful PC is well packed to protect it as much as I possibly can. And this is the only way that you can actually sell electronics and have some peace of mind, And one thing I also do, the fact that I'm putting a lot of bubble wraps also goes a long way to help me, because in the event that this PC needs to be returned, whoever is going to return it will already have materials to actually was already 4 bar 2. Fortunately, this is finished. It's going to cut this off and just use this tape to finish the process. This tape right here is actually not for plastic, so it's just not going to stay. So it makes sense to just, do the right thing. So I'm going to go ahead and change that. Unfortunately, it's going to be, man, this is so light. What kind of quality is this? This is definitely not what I'm going to use for long. The quality is so bad. It's crazy sometimes what you get, from suppliers, and I just wanted to have the same, the same color of sellotape. Otherwise, it kind of looks like a shabby job. So I'm going to take that out and use the same tape. I don't know if you can tell that this is a very bad tape, I don't just want to go ahead and put the supplier on full blast, but this is definitely not what I need for a job like this. It's too light. It's just too light. But luckily, this is just the last package that we have to do. This is not what I would have expected because there was just not much pressure on the sellotape, and I don't know. That's what it is. Actually, I would prefer this to also be wrapped up once again so that everything just looks kind of uniform. So I'm going to put that in just like that. And this is going to come here. All right, where's my sellotape? Where's the bad quality sellotape? Cover it like that. And one more time. I'm going to make this side. Then I am almost done. I think the driver is already around. I can hear the noise of a truck like turning around, but I still have time to quickly do this. So sometimes we get to be in a hurry like this, and I really do not like being in a hurry whenever I'm packing computers, but the beautiful thing is that I've already done the main work. 2 of the desktop computers depart, and the item left is just this one right here. And although technically I still have like 10 minutes because the appointment I have is for 5 o'clock. And if the driver is here before 5, I really do expect that he's just gonna pull up and wait for me. All right, guys, always remember, spend some quality time, packing your item in such a way that the item is going to be highly protected. The next thing I need to sort in now is just the invoice. I hope I'm not going to forget that again. Nope, I've got everything and looks excellent. All right. If you can tell, I don't have a cable already in. Something I need to get. This is a really long cable. Ideally, I shouldn't give this out, but sometimes this is just what I was able to lay my hands on. I'm going to just use it. It's well over 2 meters long, and I don't know if it's a good idea. I'm just going to check. Yes, I was able to get something shorter, so this is possibly what I'm going to be including in the box. This is just too long. It's about 2 meters long, and it really make no sense to put so long cable for just a desktop PC like this. So this is enough. I think it's about 1.5 meters or 1 meter, I don't know. Just gonna put that in like that. I'm gonna go ahead and close this beautiful box. All right, guys, this is all I've got for you today. It was a beautiful time today, and I really want to wish that eBay will stay this way. You know, I see a lot of guys on this YouTube street talking about the fact that their sales are down, and sometimes it's very disheartening to know that people are putting a lot of effort in this game. You know, some people expect to get some cash flow from sales of items to be able to pay their warehouse fees, be able to pay their insurance, be able to pay their car notes, and sometimes it's very disheartening when sales are not just coming through, and it's not really what being a reseller is. You know, being a reseller is like you get items up there, and eBay does its job by giving you, good traffic. But like I said in the beginning of the video, eBay is proving once again that they are the masters of this game. If you do not have items listed on eBay, you are doing yourself a very, very great disservice. You are losing a lot of traffic, and you are ultimately leaving a lot of money on the table. Until I see you again in the next video. Peace.